I am Jeff, a 32-year-old software engineer from Boston. My wife Amanda and I have been married for 5 years, and until recently, I thought we had a stable, happy relationship. We had always been on the same page about not wanting children. It was something we discussed early and often. But last month I discovered she secretly had an abortion without telling me. I feel betrayed not because of the abortion itself, but because she hid something so significant from me. Why would she keep a pregnancy secret when we agreed to be child-free? Before I dive into this complicated situation, let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories like mine. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, where expectations were simple. Graduate high school, find a decent job, marry young, and have a bunch of kids. My parents followed this path, having 4 children by the time they were 30. My father worked long hours at the local factory while my mother stayed home with us kids. They loved us, but financial struggles and the constant stress of raising 4 children took a toll on their relationship. Witnessing their struggles shaped my views on parenthood early on. I promised myself I would forge a different path. I worked hard in school, earned a scholarship to MIT, and moved to Boston to study computer science. After graduation, I landed a job at a promising tech startup and focused on building my career. I met Amanda at a tech conference in San Francisco 7 years ago. She was presenting a marketing strategy for a competing company, and I was immediately drawn to her intelligence and confidence. During the networking event afterward, we struck up a conversation about the latest innovations in our industry. What started as professional admiration quickly turned personal when we discovered our shared interests in hiking, true crime podcasts, and exotic cuisines. Our relationship progressed naturally. After exchanging numbers at the conference, we began with long-distance calls and video chats. 3 months later, I flew to Chicago, where she lived, to spend a weekend together. By the 6-month mark, Amanda had relocated to Boston for a marketing position at a local tech company, and we moved in together after dating for a year. Early in our relationship, we had the talk about children. I explained my reservations based on my parents' experience, and to my relief, Amanda revealed she had never felt maternal instincts and preferred focusing on her career and our adventures together. This alignment on being child-free felt like confirmation we were meant for each other. We revisited the topic before getting engaged again, before marriage, and occasionally thereafter, always reaffirming our decision. Our wedding was intimate, just 50 guests at a rustic venue in Vermont. We wrote our own vows, promising to support each other through life adventures that would be ours alone. No mentions of future generations or leaving legacies through children. The first few years of marriage were everything I had hoped for. We advanced in our careers, traveled to Japan and New Zealand, and spent weekends hiking in the White Mountains or exploring new restaurants in Boston. I became a senior developer at my company, leading a team of 5 engineers on increasingly important projects. Amanda transitioned from marketing manager to director of marketing at her firm, overseeing campaigns for major clients. Our communication was open and honest. We had a system for handling disagreements, sitting down with cups of tea and taking turns expressing our feelings without interruption. Amanda would tease that we were annoyingly functional compared to her friends' marriages. 3 months ago, we started discussing buying a house in the suburbs. Property values in Boston were astronomical, and we wanted more space for a home office and a garden. This significant step demonstrated our commitment to building a long-term future together. We spent weekends at open houses and evenings browsing listings online, excited about this new chapter. Around this time, I began noticing subtle changes in Amanda. She seemed more distant, often lost in thought during our conversations. She started taking phone calls in another room, something she had never done before. When I asked if everything was okay, she would smile and blame work stress. Her marketing team was launching a major campaign, so her explanation seemed reasonable. Still, something felt off. I worried she might be unhappy in our relationship, but was afraid to broach the subject directly. The discovery happened on a rainy Saturday in April. Amanda was at a weekend marketing retreat, and I decided to organize our home office. While sorting through a stack of mail, I found a statement from a medical facility I did not recognize. Initially, I thought it might be a billing error, as we had not had any recent medical appointments. Curious, I searched the name of the clinic online. My heart sank when I realized it was a women's health center known for providing reproductive services, including abortions. The statement showed a procedure from 6 weeks prior, with most of the cost covered by our insurance. I sat there, statement in hand, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Had Amanda been pregnant? Had she terminated the pregnancy without telling me? I spent the rest of the weekend in a daze, unsure how to process this information. Should I confront her? Was there another explanation? By Sunday evening, when Amanda returned, I had decided direct communication was best. I waited until we had unpacked and settled in for the night before bringing it up. I am not proud of how I handled it. After an hour of small talk about her retreat, I blurted out, "I found a statement from Capital Women's Health while you were gone. Did you have an abortion?" The look on her face confirmed my suspicions before she could speak. First shock, then guilt, then a resigned sadness. "Yes," she admitted, sitting down heavily on our couch. "I found out I was pregnant 8 weeks ago. I took the test when you were in Chicago for that conference. And you decided to terminate without telling me." My voice was steady, but my hands trembled. Amanda looked down at her hands. "I know we agreed we did not want children. I thought I would be sparing you unnecessary stress by handling it myself." Sparing me? I felt a surge of anger. This was not like deciding what to have for dinner, Amanda. This was a major life event that affected both of us. "Would you have wanted me to keep it?" She challenged, her eyes meeting mine. "That is not the point," I insisted. "We could have faced the situation together, made the decision together. I thought that was what marriage meant." Amanda's expression changed, a flash of something I could not quite read. "The truth is, Jeff, I have been thinking lately that maybe I do want children after all." This revelation hit me harder than the discovery of the abortion. "You have changed your mind. Since when? Why have you not talked to me about this?" "I have been feeling this way for about 6 months," she admitted. "At first I thought it was just a phase, friends, having babies and triggering some biological response, but the feeling has not gone away. When I found out I was pregnant, I panicked. I knew you did not want children, and I was not sure what I wanted either. So, instead of talking to me about these feelings, you kept them secret, then made a unilateral decision about our potential child." My voice rose, despite my efforts to stay calm. "I was scared," Amanda shot back, her own voice rising. "Scared of changing the terms of our relationship. Scared of losing you if I admitted I might want something different now. So lying and hiding things seemed like the better option." I stood up, needing to move to process the betrayal I felt. "I did not lie," she protested. "Lies of omission are still lies, Amanda. You knew this was something we should have discussed together." What started as a conversation devolved into our worst argument in 5 years of marriage. Words were exchanged that cannot be taken back. Amanda accused me of being controlling, of only wanting honesty when it suited my preferences. I accused her of fundamentally breaking my trust, of making assumptions about how I would react, rather than giving me the chance to process changing circumstances together. "I thought you would leave me if you knew I was reconsidering children," she finally admitted, tears streaming down her face. "And now I am considering leaving because you did not trust me enough to tell me the truth." I responded immediately, regretting the words but unable to take them back. We went to bed angry, sleeping as far apart as our queen-sized mattress would allow. The next morning I called in sick to work and packed a small bag. I needed space to think, to process everything that had happened. I told Amanda I would be staying with my friend Tyler for a few days, and left before she could respond. Tyler lives in a small apartment in Cambridge, close to Harvard, where he teaches mathematics. He welcomed me without many questions, setting up his couch with sheets and a pillow. That night, after I explained the situation, we sat on his balcony drinking beers. "So are you mad about the abortion itself, or the secrecy?" Tyler asked, always cutting to the heart of issues. "The secrecy," I answered without hesitation. "We always said we did not want kids, so the decision itself makes sense. But the fact that she hid it from me, that she has been hiding her changing feelings about children for months, that is what hurts." Tyler nodded thoughtfully. People change, man. The person you married 5 years ago is not the same person now. Neither are you. But should not our communication change and grow too? Is not that the whole point of marriage, growing together rather than apart? Over the next few days, Tyler became my sounding board as I processed my emotions. Meanwhile, my phone filled with texts from Amanda, alternating between apologetic and defensive. My parents called to confirm our plans for their visit next month, adding another layer of complication. How could I explain to them that their son's perfect marriage was suddenly on shaky ground? After a week at Tyler's, I decided it was time to go home and have a real conversation with my wife. When I arrived, Amanda was waiting for me, sitting at our kitchen table with red-rimmed eyes. The tension in the air was palpable as I set my bag down. I need to understand why you did not tell me, I began, sitting across from her. Not just about the abortion, but about your changing feelings about having children. I was scared, she repeated, her voice small. We built our relationship on the understanding that neither of us wanted children. It felt like changing that would be changing the fundamental terms of our marriage. But marriages evolve, Amanda. People evolve. Did you really think I would just leave if you told me your feelings were changing? That I could not even handle a conversation about it? You have always been so adamant about not wanting children, she countered, frustration edging into her voice. Anytime friends announced pregnancies, you would look at me and say something like, "Glad that is not us, right?" What was I supposed to think? Her words made me pause and reflect. Had I been shutting down potential conversations without realizing it? Had my own certainty made her feel unsafe, expressing doubt or change? Before I could respond, Amanda continued, her voice rising. And now you are being so controlling about how I handled a difficult situation. It was my body, my medical decision. This is not about controlling your body. I shot back, my own frustration mounting. This is about the fact that you shut me out of something major in our lives. You made assumptions about how I would react instead of giving me the chance to show up for you. Maybe you would have pressured me not to do it. Maybe I would have supported you and held your hand through it. But you never gave me that chance. The argument escalated, with years of unspoken frustrations surfacing. Amanda revealed feeling like I had been dismissive of her career stresses recently. I countered that she had been emotionally distant for months. Round and round we went until Amanda uttered the words that brought everything to a screeching halt. Maybe we should take a break, figure out what we really want individually. The suggestion felt like a physical blow. In 7 years together, neither of us had ever suggested separation, even temporarily. I stood up wordlessly and went to our bedroom, pulling out a larger suitcase this time. Amanda followed me, tears flowing freely now. "So that is it. You are just leaving?" she asked, watching me pack more of my clothes. "You suggested a break." I reminded her, my own eyes blurring with tears I refused to shed. "I think maybe you are right. We need space to figure out if our life goals are still compatible." I left that night with no clear plan of when or if I would return. The uncertainty was terrifying, but staying felt impossible. As I drove away, I realized that somewhere along the way we had stopped truly seeing each other. That first night away from our home, I sat in a hotel room, contemplating how a marriage I thought was solid could crumble so quickly. But had it truly been sudden, or had we been growing apart in subtle ways for months? I realized I needed help processing everything. So I researched marriage counselors in the area and scheduled an appointment for myself. Dr. Sophia Winters specialized in couples therapy, but also saw individuals navigating relationship challenges. In our first session, I poured out the whole story, still angry and hurt, but also increasingly aware of my own role in our communication breakdown. "Jeff, what scares you most about Amanda's changing feelings regarding children?" Dr. Winters asked after listening intently. The question caught me off guard. I had been so focused on the betrayal that I had not really examined my reaction to the actual content of what she had been hiding. "I guess I am afraid of turning into my father," I admitted. Working endless hours, coming home exhausted, too depleted to truly connect with his children or wife. Is that the only possible outcome of becoming a parent? No, I conceded, but it is the model I grew up with. Over 3 individual sessions, Dr. Winters helped me untangle my feelings. I realized I was not categorically against having children. I was against repeating my parents' pattern. I also confronted how my rigid thinking and absolutist statements might have created an environment where Amanda felt unsafe expressing evolving thoughts. After 2 weeks of separation and individual therapy, I wrote Amanda a letter. Not an email or text, but an actual handwritten letter expressing my feelings without blame or accusation. I acknowledged how my behavior might have contributed to her feeling she could not be honest with me. I explained my hurt over being excluded from such a significant event, but also expressed my desire to understand her perspective better. I suggested couples counseling, if she was willing. 3 days later, Amanda called and agreed to meet me at Dr. Winters' office. That first session was awkward, both of us guarded and unsure. But it was a start. Dr. Winters created a structured environment where we could each express our feelings without interruption or defensiveness from the other. I felt trapped, Amanda explained, during our second session. Trapped between my changing feelings about motherhood and my fear of losing you. Every month that passed made it harder to bring up. And I feel like you made assumptions about my reactions, instead of giving me the chance to respond to the real you, not your projection of what you feared. I would think I responded when it was my turn. Dr. Winters guided us to identify our communication patterns. How I tended to make definitive statements that left little room for nuance or evolution of thought. How Amanda avoided conflict by withholding concerns until they became unbearable. The breakthrough came in our 4th session. Amanda described the moment she discovered her pregnancy, the panic and confusion she felt torn between what we had planned for our lives and the unexpected flutter of desire to keep the baby. For the first time, I truly heard her, not just the words but the complex emotions behind them. I reached for her hand across the space between our chairs, the first physical contact in weeks. I wish I could have been there with you in that moment, I said softly. Not to make the decision for you, but to support you through it. Her eyes filled with tears as she squeezed my hand. I wish that too, she whispered. I was just so scared of losing everything we had built. That moment marked the beginning of real healing between us. I took active steps to change my communication style, focusing on listening before responding and avoiding absolute statements. I practiced phrases like "I feel" instead of "you did" when expressing hurt. Meanwhile, Amanda worked on her tendency to avoid difficult conversations. She started sharing her thoughts and feelings in real time rather than letting them build up. It was uncomfortable at first, but gradually became our new normal. We established weekly check-ins about major life topics, creating a safe space to discuss evolving feelings about everything from our careers to family planning. I moved back home after 6 weeks apart, and slowly we began rebuilding intimacy and trust. One night, as we sat on our back porch watching fireflies, Amanda turned to me with serious eyes. "I need to know, Jeff, are you open to reconsidering children someday? Because I think I am. Not right now, but maybe in a year or 2. Instead of panicking or shutting down the conversation, I took a deep breath and shared honestly. I am not sure, but I am open to exploring the possibility together. What I know for certain is that I want us to make these major life decisions as a team, whatever we decide." She smiled a genuine smile that reached her eyes for the first time in months. That is all I needed to hear. 6 months have passed since the day I found that medical statement, and our relationship has fundamentally changed, mostly for the better. Through weekly counseling and daily practice, we have developed a new language for communicating with each other. Our marriage is stronger now, built on a more authentic foundation. Amanda and I recently sat down and had an open, honest conversation about our family plans. After months of reflection, we made a joint decision that feels right for both of us. The specifics of that decision matter less than the fact that we reached it together, considering both our needs and fears. The journey has taught me that being right is far less important than being connected. Early in our crisis, I was fixated on the principle of the matter, the fact that I was justified in my anger over being excluded. While that anger was valid, clinging to it would have cost me my marriage. I have learned that relationships require constant renewal. The agreements you make at the beginning are not set in stone, but need regular revisiting as both people grow and evolve. Amanda is not the same woman I married 5 years ago, and I am not the same man. Expecting each other to remain static was perhaps our biggest mistake. Trust once broken is rebuilt through consistent actions over time, not grand gestures or promises. Each time Amanda now shares a difficult truth or uncomfortable feeling with me, it adds another small brick to the foundation we are reconstructing. Each time I respond with openness rather than judgment, it strengthens the mortar between those bricks. We do not know what the future holds for us. Whether our family will remain just the two of us or expand someday remains an open question. What we do know is that whatever challenges come our way, we now have better tools to face them together. So was I wrong to get upset about the secret abortion? I believe my feelings were valid, but how I expressed them could have been more productive. The right to feel emotions differs from how we choose to act on them. Had I approached the situation with curiosity rather than accusation, perhaps we could have avoided some of the pain that followed. What about you? Have you ever experienced a similar betrayal or breakdown in communication in your relationship? How did you handle it? Was forgiveness possible, or did it become a breaking point? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Your support helps me continue sharing these personal stories that remind us all that even in our darkest moments, growth and healing are possible. Thank you for listening, and remember, the willingness to evolve together might be the most important commitment we make in any relationship.